What's going on, guys? How are you? Hope everything is well. All right, today's topic pretty interesting. We want to talk about transitioning from being a company driver, owner, operator to coming inside, possibly dispatching or doing something on the inside. What are some things that you didn't think about? What are some typical problems that come along with that? What is the biggest misconception? So we just kind of touch bases on that a little bit.
Yeah, and before we even start, here's what I want to say. Don't take it personally. It's just business. If you wonder and you want to know, here's your information. Don't hate the messenger, but just listen to the reality. Listen for all the cons and pros, because sometimes I wish we could bring in somebody from the road into the office, but we will touch the reasons what's in the way sometimes of doing that. And again, it's never in the way that, by the way, I've heard somewhere that some companies just don't hire drivers into the office.
Yeah, sometimes those are policies.
But again, not here, and we would anytime. The only thing is, you got to know a few things.
Yeah. So, hey, you know what? Let's even start it a little bit different. Let's start it kind of backwards, just so that's to protect that disclaimer right there. So I'll use myself as an example. Let's say I wanted to go out there and become a driver and go out there. Guess what? I don't have a Class A CDL at this moment, so I have no experience doing that.
Well, what that video of you driving a truck in the yard, like, what is it?
Oh, yeah. All right,
let's carry on.
Okay, so I'm 20 years in the game, done a little bit of everything, okay? But let's say I went to apply to be a company driver somewhere. On the books, no experience. I'm limited to just that. I'm a fresh guy, out of school. My tenure in the business, in the industry, doesn't matter. Financially, right? It's not going to connect. I mean, I've developed myself and so forth, but what can I expect? They're going to take me for face value. A guy just out of school, go drive teams, go do a year, go do this, 32 cents a mile or whatever it is. I am in the exact same boat as a 24-year-old guy who just got his license.
Yep.
And it's that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much, maybe there is a little bit more value in it, but it doesn't add any value to the truck putting miles on the road and to the financial formula of profit and expense.
Right.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you did for 20 years in trucking. If you're just starting driving right now, this is who you are, a rookie driver.
And same industry, right? And
yeah. Maybe in the same company too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So now to kind of switch gears again, bringing it back, I think that one of the biggest problems that I see with that is the misconception of what kind of money you can make.
Yes, and I think, in my personal experience, this is the biggest challenge. And I wish it was a different way,
right?
Because that would make my life a lot easier, because I think the guys who actually did drive the truck, we have a lot of value in the office on that end, because we kind of know what's going on out there. However, if we go down to the bottom line of what job needs to be done, here's the problems that we're going to face. And I'm going to give you one short story. A couple of years ago, we were looking back in the day when there was still paper logs. So we were looking for a log auditor, somebody who can just audit all the logs every day, all the time. So I get the phone call from this guy, has a lot of experience as a driver. And when I'm talking to him, I'm like, hey, but do you know what you're getting yourself into, this and that? And he's like, yeah, I know everything. I've been out there. I'm a badass driver, and I can absolutely do this. And I do not doubt that he can do it.
No, he can tell you who's cheating, what looks fake. He could probably point a lot of things out
yes,
that are valuable.
So there is a value there. However, with a little bit of training, anybody who just finished a high school this year can do that. Can do just that. Maybe not in the driver lingo, maybe not, in that very specific way, but we can accomplish the job. So now, I was kind of hesitant because I already know where it's going.
Right.
I've been through this, but the guy was insistent that, hey, let's just meet and talk. Okay. So he came to the office, really, very professional driver, talks the talk, understands the hours of service, been on the road, one of the drivers that you would really want to hire as a driver, for
Right.
sure. And then we came down to the
money part.
money part, which is the most critical issue in that scenario of leaving the driving job and going into the office. So right away I was like, look, man, everything looks good. We could probably do that. However, I see one problem that I doubt you can get through. And that problem is the money. Because I asked him, how much money do you make as a driver? He was hesitant to answer, but I was like, okay, if you drive as you talk, I can tell you you're probably making $1,600, $1,800 a week as a driver when you are on the road. Do you know what an entry-level office position pays? And that's right there is the biggest disconnect. That right there kills everything. And I understand, as a driver, one thing that nobody wants to kind of, maybe talk about, but the reality is, I've seen a lot of drivers who think that if that person is in the office, sometimes coaching me or telling me what to do, that somehow we are above me, and we think that we are above them, like all the way, including the finances.
Yeah.
What we don't know, that you guys, the driver, is the biggest value to any trucking business. Without a driver, trucking business stops. So in general, I would say driver, or even more owner-operator, is the top dogs of the trucking industry.
Yeah, and I think one of the misconceptions is, like, let's say you walk into just a typical dispatch room. You walk in to say hello and pick up paperwork, whatever it is you're doing. You already probably make more than anybody in that room, flat out.
Yes.
That's, and so similar thing for myself. I get guys looking to come in and they have that misconception, like they think because somehow, they're working together, they see themselves as colleagues, co-workers, almost at the same level, you automatically assume that the money's the same. But $1,600 a week at 52 weeks, I mean, that's, profit margins in trucking are not that big.
Yes. So, and I believe this is the biggest challenge, and coming into the office position, because it's not just, a lot of times we would see the guys here and there who would say, I'm tired of being on the road, I want to stay more with my family, and that's very understandable. The problem is, and I don't want to discard, because our office staff here, I believe we are paid well based on their capacity, ability, and so on. So it's not like we're getting paid minimum wage either.
No, but again, at $1,600 a week, you've developed a lifestyle that you have to maintain, right? That's
yes.
Welcome to America.
Just because you've been driving as this, top-notch driver, making that, top dollar, and now your life is adjusted to that type of income. You have a house, you have a car, you have a stay-at-home wife who takes care of kids. Just because you got tired of driving, your options to come into the office are very limited unless you are willing to change everything else at home, if you can even change it.
Yeah, and then there's people who have done it, so we're not saying it's impossible. We're just, again, bringing up the thing why maybe you're not getting the call back. Maybe why that company that's looking to make an investment in you knows that in a couple of months your bills are still the same. Like, will it be the same? Because remember, there's guys who have come inside not by choice of their own. Maybe medical card was never going to get renewed. Maybe the amount of accidents or something like that, safety related, forced the guy to do something different. And then, and it's not that they planned for it financially, maybe they just kind of got forced into it. So nevertheless, it can be done, guys, it is. we're just kind of pointing out a fact, right? Like just something to consider if you're that guy looking to come in on the inside, the realism behind what kind of money you can make.
And also don't forget, let's say a dispatcher, like one of the more larger departments in the average trucking company. As a nobody is saying that as a dispatcher you're going to be making less than the driver. You will build up to that eventually if you're good.
It's the culture shock. It's the entry part.
But once you're going to enter, you're not going to be in the same position as that guy who took a risk and who's been doing this for a while and now build up the experience, build up the fleet, and now he's actually do make that money. But the problem is it didn't happen over 2-week period. It didn't happen over a month. So the financial consequences are real and we are there. Is it possible? Absolutely. But before looking into the office positions, I would suggest the financial end is your biggest challenge.
Yeah. And then just seeing kind of what your plan is. If you decide that, the bigger the company, to get that dispatching experience and to get to that place where you want to be financially might be a slower journey than to, a company working spot market because of, we could do a video about that later on, but there's a major difference behind that.
It is because I don't want to be, kind of be cocky about it.
Better.
But in my experience, our dispatchers would kick ass any major carrier's dispatch any day of the week, no problem. We would chew them for a breakfast, and that's what it is because we perform in the Coliseum,
yeah,
and we are being constantly exposed to all kinds of situations, and we become really, really good at what we do. When at the bigger company, you get a nice little cubicle with a nice little set of rules, and
a load planner,
and you become a load planner, and then 5 years down the road, you have no value as a dispatcher in a company like this, right? Because to us, you're just pretty much secretary at best. Yeah.
So yeah, and even if you took someone who is from that spot market into that realm, that kind of work, it might be dull for them. You know what I mean?
Dull, and I say, the load planner will never make as much money as the spot market dispatcher. It's just not going to happen. It's too easy. It's too simple. Yeah. Because a lot of times, like I would get phone calls when we hire dispatchers. Oh man, I'm taking care of 50 drivers. Like right away, in his eyes, he's this killer. He does it. But in reality, he's just a load planner. There's nothing there. The only thing he does is distributes the loads, and that maybe gives directions. That's it. And that's a different level of dispatching. So now, to me, you're no longer a dispatcher. You're just the guy in the office. Like anybody can do that. Yeah, no offense to anybody who's doing that.
No, just separate worlds.
Just telling you the truth. Kind of,
Well, there you have it. Well, maybe we do a video about that. Just because we could spend a good amount of time on that, as far as what our dispatchers do on a daily basis. Maybe some guys out there don't know, especially some company guys who never experienced what spot market is. So we'll definitely do something on that.
As a matter of fact, maybe next week Sunny is going to be here. So maybe we can utilize that as well. That's one of our badass dispatchers right there, who's not very shy on the camera.
No. We'll ask the real questions, not the fluffy stuff.
Yeah, and then because I was accused once, like some lady called me from one of the local companies around here, like for a dispatch position. She's like, "What do you guys do?" And I'm explaining what do we do. She's one of those 50 trucks dispatchers, and she's like, "No, this is not dispatching." I'm like, "Yep. Yes, ma'am, it's a dispatching." It's like 95% of American trucking companies is that type of dispatch. And she argues like, no, it is not. And I'm like, listen, lady,
I don't know what to tell you. Right, because she's probably just making sure nobody broke down, everybody's on time, there's that, repower a load, there's that, the other. But that's like, oh yeah, we do that. Now it's 9:30.
Yeah. So anyways, stay cool, think about it. Again, remember, one of the biggest challenges is not the company against you or you against you or experience or anything else, because time on the road is very valuable. As a driver, you already have some experience to enter the trucking office arena. The biggest challenge is the personal finances. Can you handle the curve? And that's what's always going to be on the way.
And don't be discouraged. If you're committed, then go ahead and do it. So
no, absolutely. If you're committed, just don't try. Just do it like there is no way out, and you're gonna be fine. Just expect that it's gonna take a little bit of time. Prepare for it. Save some money because you're gonna need that.
All right, guys. So till next time, drive safe. Please make sure you leave comments. Maybe even share your story and how you transition from the inside out or outside in.
And how's your load planning working out right now?
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.